What is good, y'all? Welcome to the Mission Ready Men Briefing, where we stand firm in truth, family, faith, and freedom. Right here on the SHR Media Network. Today is Tuesday, June 17th in the year of our Lord 2025. And this show is for those of us who fear God, love our country, and do not back down from a fight, because the battle we're in is not just political or physical, but it's spiritual. And we've got truth to expose, narratives to crush, and the fight for faith, family, and freedom never, ever takes a day off. The wokies are going absolutely bananas. And the American Pravda, as usual, is lying through its teeth, and patriot warriors like you and I are standing up all over the country. And we're going to cover all of it and then some. So make sure that you're following Mission Ready Men on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And if you want to wear the fight, grab your gear at missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out all the great designs that we have over there. All right, we got a lot to get into, and I don't even know where to begin, quite frankly, but let's get after it. Now, a lot of people are, there's been so much going on lately, and it's almost kind of, preparing the show is almost like a paralysis by analysis. There's so much to talk about, so many different aspects of every story. You almost don't know where to begin. So I'm going to try and let's see if we can get into it. Now, a lot of people are talking about the war in the Middle East between Israel and Iran, and we're going to get into that. But I want to focus right now on what's happening in this country. So we're going to talk about the shooting, the assassinations in Minnesota, and how the left seems to always frame these things as right-wing terror when the facts never really support that analysis. So we're going to talk about Vance Bolter, the guy who assassinated the 2 Minnesota lawmakers, and related to the broader point of political violence, mainly from the left, something that the American Pravda is eerily silent about. So on June 14th of this year, this guy who claimed to be a security contractor, and his history suggests something completely different. He was in sales and things like that, and then had a midlife crisis and decided he wanted to open up a security firm with, from what I can tell, no real experience in the area. And also from reporting that I've seen, his firm had no clients. But we'll see how that plays out. But he disguised himself as a police officer and went to 2 separate lawmakers' homes and assaulted them, killing Melissa Hortman, former Minnesota House Speaker, and her husband, and then severely wounding State Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette. And he was at Melissa Hortman's house, Representative Melissa Hortman, and because there had been some chatter, some reports, the police had been dispatched to Melissa Hortman's house and rolled up on the perpetrator, where he exchanged gunfire with them, went into the house, escaped out the back. And so some people are saying that because of the way this went down, his disguise, his silicone mask, and all of that, that he's a professional. I'm not sure I buy that. I don't know, maybe he went to YouTube University and learned a few things here and there, but nothing about this case makes any sense. And I'm going to try not to come to any conclusions because the facts are so murky. Like I said, nothing makes sense. I'm just going to get into what happened here and then try to relate it to the broader issue of left-wing political violence and things like that. But this guy is a contradiction because his friends and people that he knows in his online persona, his public persona, seem to indicate that he is a conservative. He's been online. He's been fashioning himself, I guess, as a preacher and a Christian and things like that. If he has been living his life as a Christian, then he is severely confused because Christians are not going to go around killing people. That's not what the Bible teaches us to do. And so he had all this No Kings literature in his vehicle, and he's, like I said, he's a contradiction. Nothing about this makes any sense. Nothing about this makes any sense. Yeah, it's really weird, and I like I said, I'm gonna try not to come to any conclusions about it because it's just so nebulous right now, so out there, for lack of a better term. And so this guy, he's been caught. He was arrested in a field not too far from his home, apparently, and he was arrested without incident. I haven't heard any reporting of anything that he said. There was allegedly a manifesto found, then all of a sudden the manifesto doesn't exist. More stuff that doesn't make any sense. How is it that there was a manifesto and now that the federal authorities are involved, the manifesto suddenly disappears? Like I said, nothing about this case makes any sense. We were talking, all the SHR guys in our private chat about how this has all the markings of the Las Vegas shooting, and how we still to this day don't know anything. We know as much today about that as we did right after it happened. And this is shaping up. It's early days, yes, but this is shaping up to have a similar feel to it. So the question kind of becomes, was this ideological violence? And if so, to what end? Because if it's true that he really is a conservative and a Trump supporter, the person that he killed voted against the Democrats voted against giving illegal aliens Medicaid. That's a conservative position. So why would you eliminate somebody who's voting with you on that issue? It doesn't make, again, it's a recurring thing, but nothing about this makes any sense. So was it ideological violence? Is he just deeply confused and has no idea what's really going on? Is it both? Is it a mix of the two? It doesn't make any sense at all. But I want to frame this as a I want to frame it as political violence, and how political violence tends to be the purview of the left. Despite all of the reporting that you see, despite all of the statistics, quote unquote, that you see labeling political violence as a strictly right-wing issue, even if you concede, even if you stipulate for the record that in years past that was the case, you cannot ignore the fact that over the past 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, the bulk of the political violence has come from the left. And just recently, we're talking about the pro-Palestinian riots, where synagogues and Jewish businesses were attacked in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, and a number of other cities around the country. You have the fire bombings of pregnancy centers in DC, Oregon, Wisconsin, planned by this left-wing lunatic group, Jane's Revenge. The ICE facility riots that we're seeing going on right now in LA and Portland, and we had the DHS vans firebombed, the cops being pelted with concrete and being forced to seek cover under overpasses during these riots. All of this organized by left-wing Marxist groups. And nobody except for conservative commentators like us, like me, are making any noise about this being domestic terrorism. The coverage is sparse. We're not hearing any rumblings about any hearings, any congressional hearings. Not that those mean anything, but it's the theater of it that they don't hesitate to exploit when it comes to the left. I'm talking about when it comes to violence that they can frame as right-wing violence. They label it as domestic terrorism. But when a pregnancy center gets firebombed, it's a mostly peaceful protest. When cops are attacked, when flags are being burned, when buildings are being destroyed, mostly peaceful. And this guy in Minnesota, because the details are so murky, it's hard to pin down on either side. I've seen reporting where he was at left-wing rallies and wearing left-wing propaganda T-shirts and things like that. So who really knows? And another thing that you'll never hear a leftist condemning the violence perpetrated by their comrades. Whereas conservatives, we know that violence is wrong, and we will condemn it regardless who commits it. And if it turns out that this guy is is truly a Trump supporter and a right-wing conservative, Christian conservative, and he did this, well, then we're going to condemn that. We are condemning it. It was wrong. He committed cold-blooded murder, and he attempted to murder 2 other people, and had a list of others that he was going to target. So that's the major difference. One of the major differences between conservatives and leftists on this issue. And even though it sounds like it's a left-right thing, it's really not. It is tangentially, but the crux of it is it's about confronting and speaking the truth. And if we don't confront it, if we don't speak the truth, if we don't deal with it, it's only going to escalate. We haven't dealt with it up to this point, going all the way back to the hands up, don't shoot in St. Louis, going even further back than that. If you don't deal with it, it's only going to escalate. And what we're seeing in LA right now is the natural progression of that. And we know that the American Pravda is not going to tell the truth. They are not going to be objective. So it's up to us. It's up to us to stand up and do it ourselves. All right. There's so much more. I could spend the entire hour on that, but I want to move on because I do want to talk about the war in Israel, the war between Israel and Iran. And you could say that Israel's attack on Iran is retaliation for the October 7th attacks because they funded and they funded their proxies to commit that heinous act. But I think it's more based on what I've been reading since this whole thing kicked off. It more represents a doctrine shift, a shift in Israel's military doctrine. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into their strikes, Israel's response, and or Iran's response, excuse me, and how the world is reacting to it. And so on June 13th, the early morning hours of June 13th, Israel struck over 100 military nuclear sites inside Iran. The Natanz and Isfahan nuclear facilities, IRGC headquarters, missile silos, and Mossad, they've been planning this for a long time. They had deep cover teams in Iran disabling their air defenses from inside Iran. And the precision with which they eliminated their missile defense systems, their air defense systems, was made possible because they had these operations in place for such a long time. And on that note, though, I am as big a supporter of Israel as you will find. Mossad was capable of this level of they were capable of this level of destruction inside Iran, this level of clandestine operation. And yet October 7th happened. Now, there are people out there who are saying that they wanted October 7th to happen and stuff like that. I'm not saying that at all. But what happened? What was that lapse in intelligence gathering that allowed that to happen? Because we see just from this what they're capable of, and we've known what they're capable of for decades. Ever since I knew what Israel was and what Mossad was, I knew what they were capable of. And that attack on October 7th just seems like I don't know what. I don't know. I'm not gonna go down that road of it was an inside job and they allowed it to happen, all that. I don't believe that for a second, but something happened. Something happened there. But this move by Israel to do this is it's a doctrine I've seen referred to as the preemptive decapitation doctrine, which is basically what happened. They struck first, they eliminated immediate threats, and they eliminated their top commanders and their nuclear scientists and IRGC officers and all the rest of it. And from what I've been seeing today, Iran is falling apart. Their banking has been affected. ATMs are no longer working. There's a run on banks. People are leaving. There's a gas shortage. I mean, Israel has done a job on Iran. But let me just explain this what I see as their military doctrine evolving, because they used to just defend and retaliate when they were struck. This was a preemptive strike. And they targeted decision makers, like I said, not just the infrastructure. And it was a combination of covert and overt warfare, where they disabled their air defenses from inside Iran, like I said, which enabled their fighters to strike basically with impunity, because they had no air. Iran has not shot down a single Israeli jet, not a one, because they were able to do this and establish air superiority over Iran without having to send in any ground troops, which is outstanding. There's no boots on the ground, but yet they're still applying maximum pressure with their F-35s, F-15s, F-16s, and things of that nature. So this has been a masterful operation from the Israelis, and I think they should keep the pressure up. I think they should keep going. They also used cyber attacks, but they use cyber attacks, and they crippled their computer infrastructure and things like that, and power grid and things like that. But they did, and this isn't funny, but I do find it somewhat amusing. I want to show you this. There's a quick clip of one of Iran's news outlets getting hit while they were live on air with a missile. This is I shouldn't be laughing. But I mean, it's Iran, so why not? Check this out.
که شنیدی صدای متجاوز به خاک وطن، صدای متجاوز به صدای حق و حقیقت است. آنچه که ملاحظه کردید، صدایی که شنیدید، فضای غبارآلوده استادیوم
So there's that. And I don't feel bad at all, because they fomented what happened on October 7th, where they killed women and children and babies, put them in microwaves, and just all kinds of heinous acts. So a missile hitting a TV studio, yeah, I don't care, frankly. We have some people in chat. BZ is in the chat. My beautiful wife is in the chat, and BZ points out that we have 515 subscribers. So let's push it to 600. And if everyone who is watching and listening, if they share this with everyone they know, then we could hit that 600 plateau pretty quickly. So please like, subscribe, share the videos, and let's get it done. Let's continue the march towards 600. BZ also says one thing has been revealed: the Patriot banks and the Iron Dome banks have been less than very successful. I've seen reporting that that they have a 96, 97% success rate. They have hit some oh yes, it was BZ. They have gotten some missiles through the Iron Dome, but I don't know that I would call it a success. But maybe I missed some reporting where there was some other damage done that I'm not aware of, which is entirely possible, because like I said, there's been so much going on, so much to get through, that I could have missed something. So who knows? Iran did try, we were just talking about, they got some missiles through. Their counterstrike launched 200 missiles, 100 plus drones in response. And at last count, I believe there are 25 Israeli casualties, Israeli fatalities, and hundreds injured. I mean, yeah, obviously we would want 100% success rate, but some got through. I mean, and this is war. This is war. This is going to happen, unfortunately. But I think Israel is doing the right thing. And it also shows us that Iran just doesn't have the military capabilities to do much with any precision and with any real success. This was their response was a retaliation, didn't have any real strategic military value whatsoever. They targeted civilians like they always do. And the military success was pretty much non-existent. BZ says that 224 people have been killed in Iran and 24 in Israel since the conflict erupted last week. So yeah, I would say that Israel is coming out ahead of the game on this. Here's the thing. Israel is under attack. They are surrounded in that region by enemies on all sides. And the West understands, at least here in the United States, we understand their strength, because the threat from Iran and all these other Islamic regimes that hate Israel and hate the West, they put it this way, not supporting Israel and allowing Israel to be attacked in this way speaks volumes about leftist ideas. I mean, we all know that they hate Israel because Israel has Western ideals. And I'm not saying that we need to get involved in this war. I know that President Trump has said that we can't allow them to have a nuclear weapon. We have the capability of eliminating their nuclear facilities. with the bunker buster bombs. I understand people who don't want to get involved on that front. I get it. Nobody wants us to be involved in a war. We voted for President Trump to keep us out of these ridiculous wars. I don't think this particular one is ridiculous. We almost, I said last night in chat on, I believe it was The Edge of Liberty, that we almost don't have a choice in allowing, in using those, the bombs that we have capable of taking out their nuclear facilities. If we're not serious about Iran not having a nuclear weapon, then we can just sit back and let this play out. I don't know. What do you think? Hit me up in chat. I know a lot of people have a lot of feelings about this, and well, I told you my thoughts. I think we should. If you disagree with me, please let me know, and we can discuss it. And maybe you can convince me that I'm wrong. Maybe I can convince you. We'll see. But I want to move on. But one last thing I do want to get to is that well, you know what? Let's move on, because if I start down that road, I'll be on this story for the entire time. And so right now, let's go ahead and get a word in from our sponsor. And our sponsor for today, for this show, is Carry Girl Gear, my beautiful wife's company. And fellas, if you're looking for a gift for your wife or your girlfriend, you need to check out carrygirl.com. They've got some of the best looking, highest quality shirts you will find, bold designs, great fabric, and things that she will actually want to wear. And it's not just the shirts. They've got drinkware, hats, all kinds of accessories that she's going to absolutely love. And if you aren't sure, if you don't know anything about what her taste might be or her size might be, just go ahead and grab yourself a gift card and let her pick out her own gear. And right now there's a code, team CGG, to get 15% off everything site-wide. 15% off everything site-wide. So please go ahead and head over to carrygirl.com today. Show some love and make it count. Visit carrygirl.com today. Now check out this drinkware. This is awesome. I have one of these myself. Yeah, go ahead and check out carrygirl.com today. All right, fellas. I am Big E, and you are watching or listening to the Mission Ready Men briefing here on the SHR Media Network, where you can catch my good friend Sackhead Sean with The Edge of Liberty every Monday and Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. The Reaver of Common Sense with Jersey Joe every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And BZ with the Berserk Bobcat Saloon every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. BZ is in the chat right now. Thank you very much, BZ. And he will be on tonight, like I said, at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. So please check out all the great shows that we have on the SHR Media Network. Like and subscribe, share the channel so that we can hit that 600 mark as quickly as we possibly can. And pray for us that we hit that 600 mark pretty soon, because we want to reach as many people as we can. We want to reach as many people as we can and spread the word and help get this country back on track. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled programming. All right. This, I almost didn't include this in the show today, but I wanted to because it was amusing on one hand and disturbing on a whole other level. And I don't know how many people in this audience are familiar with a lot of hardcore rappers. But there was one that actually recently won a BET award for a gospel record. And that particular artist's name is Glorilla. That probably should tell you pretty much everything you need to know about this particular artist. It's amazing how we got to this point. Glorilla won the 2025 BET Award for Best Gospel Inspirational Record for Rain Down on Me, a song she did with Kirk Franklin and Maverick City Music. I'm not a huge fan of Kirk Franklin. I don't really consider him a gospel artist. But I think I have her acceptance speech here. And if you can understand most of what she says, you're a better person than me, because I couldn't understand a word she says. And as I was going through some of her songs and videos, I couldn't understand a word she was saying in anything. You could understand a few words here and there that I'm not going to repeat, but it's just it's sad. It really is. But let's listen to this. Listen to this. I don't even want to call it a speech, but yeah, no, laughing is no. We're laughing at you. We're definitely laughing at you. Look at what she's wearing, accepting a gospel award. And as I was saying, I went through some of her songs and some of her videos, and you can find them on Twitter and YouTube. And it's not like she had some sort of conversion where she was rapping about all the sex she could have and all this other stuff. And then she had an epiphany and realized that she wanted to be a Christian rapper. No, she just decided she was going to try and get in on the grift and do a gospel record and get with Kirk Franklin, who is pretty popular in the genre, and she is just as vulgar, just as unchristian as you can possibly get. And what BET was thinking when they gave her this Bobby Jones Best Gospel Inspirational Award just boggles the mind. Oh, BZ, clearly that one bright bulb will be replacing AI very shortly. Oh my goodness. Just how did we get here? Now, music, even before I became a Christian, I was familiar with a lot of gospel music because my dad is a preacher, and I grew up listening to that music with my family and stuff like that. but even after that, I was country music. It was my thing, and as some R&B here and there, but mostly country music. And so now, because I try to balance everything I do with trying to stay up to date with news and stuff like that, when I'm driving, I tend to listen to Christian music. And if I heard anything that person did, I would turn it off real quick. Because if you listen to anything she's ever done, you can't understand a word she says. You don't know if she's giving glory to God or if she's giving glory to something else. You know what I'm saying? And it's just sad. But I don't understand how we got to this point where we went from the early 80s and 90s gospel rap with guys like Stephen Wiley and DC Talk. And then we had Kirk Franklin with his hip hop gospel and the commercial success he had. And even though some of the most popular songs that he had, I didn't hear the Christianity in it at all, frankly. Even back then when I wasn't a Christian yet, but because I'd grown up in it, I would be able to pick it out, and there was nothing there that I could tell. But then we had guys like Tupac, Kanye, Kendrick Lamar, I guess is a popular guy, and Chance the Rapper. And the only reason I know him is because I see him on, is it American Idol or The Voice? I can't remember. Either way, regardless, these guys will weave in spirituality and stuff like that into their stuff. And it doesn't make any sense. It's nonsense. It's crossover to make a buck, but it has nothing to do with glorifying God whatsoever. And the fact that they're glorifying artists like this, who are interlopers into Christian music, and don't have any real conviction behind what they're doing, does not bode well for Christian music whatsoever. Not at all. And I hope enough of true Christian artists stand up and condemn this nonsense, because she's making a mockery of gospel music. She's making a mockery of what true Christians believe and how they use music to glorify God. She's making a mockery of that. An absolute mockery. This is there's a line between the sacred obligation, the sacred acts of glorifying God, and the secular nonsense of trying to make a buck. So are we going to just allow this line to keep getting blurred, or are we going to do something about it? Hopefully this is the last we ever hear about Glorilla. What kind of name is that anyway? I mean, anyway, let's move on, because I want to talk about something that's Canada Heavy Hall. Thanks for joining us here in the chat. I appreciate it. He says he blames social media. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, social media has been a pariah and the downfall of our civilization. And it's sad. BZ. And the unintelligible are gonna unintellige. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, I gotta stop that. I can't. I gotta move on because we only got about 12 minutes left, and there's a few things I want to get into. On a much, I don't want to say happier note, because what happened involves some serious crimes. But is there anything more important than protecting children? And if you go by the American Pravda's stance on it, apparently there's a whole lot that's more important than protecting children, because you haven't heard about, I seriously doubt you've heard about this story. And what I'm talking about is one of the largest child exploitation crackdowns in recent Texas history. And what it is Operation Soteria Shield. And it was led by FBI Dallas office over a 3-month period. And they just arrested 244 child predators, rescued 109 children, seized 1,130 digital devices and 213 terabytes of child exploitative content. 213 terabytes. Homeland Security, U.S. Marshals, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and a host of other local police agencies were involved in this. They were these people, and they're not even really people, they're animals, because they were enticing these children online, creating child porn, producing it, distributing it, owning it, and trafficking these children. And the digital footprints of these animals was so large that a lot of the people that ended up getting caught up in this had already been known to law enforcement for other issues. Some of the victims were found in being trafficked in abusive homes and in exploitative online setups. It's just, there isn't a punishment. There isn't enough punishment for these people. And the fact that they're hunting these kids online and in real life just shows you the decay, the moral and spiritual decay that we've seen in this country. And back to what Canada Heavy Hall said, social media has been instrumental in advancing this moral and spiritual decay. And I absolutely hate the fact that I have to do it in order to spread this message. Otherwise, it would go nowhere. So I have to be on social media. I cannot stand it, and I'm not good at it, frankly. Most of the social media stuff that you see from Mission Ready Men, my wife does, and I thank her for it, because I can't stand it, and I know she can't either. But she's good at it, so there's that. But the media, the American Pravda, has not picked up on this story. Why? Why have they not picked up on this story? There's been no outrage. There's been nothing. I came across this by accident. And so I had to talk about it and get it out there, because if this was some celebrity controversy, there would be wall-to-wall coverage of this thing. Why are stories like this about our most vulnerable population? Why is it such a low priority for these people? I'm not going to get into the answer to that. I think we all know what the answer is. But as Beasy is famous for saying, who benefits from the silence? Who benefits from not publicizing this? But the law enforcement agencies that took these animals down deserve all the praise and all the thanks, because there were 244 people that were arrested. There are thousands more, if not millions more, in this country alone that we have to find, root out, and bring to justice. It happened here in Texas. Now it has to happen everywhere. All right. Unbelievable. All right. We got a little bit of time left, and I want to get into a couple of other things. I just came across this just before I started, just before I went live, and I think this is the absolute best advertisement for deportations that you could possibly have. This is from the Federalist. As deportations rise, the U.S. is on track for the lowest murder rate on record. Who would have thunk it? You arrest criminals, you get less crime. Imagine that. Imagine that. Arresting criminals gets you less crime. Oh, look, when you let law enforcement catch criminals, you will get less crime. Imagine that. This is from John Lott Jr. He runs the Crime Prevention Research Center, which is a great resource for firearm related information and just crime in general. You really need to check it out. But he says murder rates are plummeting. We still have more than a half a year to go, but Kash Patel says that the U.S. is on track to have the lowest murder rate ever. The current record low occurred in 2014 when the FBI reported a murder rate of 4.45 per 100,000. Wow. Deport the criminals, arrest the criminals, and fewer people die. Kash Patel, let good cops be cops. Well, absolutely. This is like a PhD in duh. It doesn't make any sense that you would just allow criminals to run rampant and think somehow you're going to reduce crime. No, you got to lock them up. And with the deportations, kick them out if they're here illegally. I mean, this is kind of common sense, which is all too uncommon these days. But yeah, this is going to be in the show notes, so you should check it out. Lowest murder rate on record ever we're on track for. That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. We talked about we talked about a while back how support for Pride Month has been diminished because corporate sponsors are shying away from it. Well, now we have another one. We have another another thing that the corporate sponsors are shying away from, and that is Juneteenth. Juneteenth celebrations adapt after the corporate sponsors pull support. Juneteenth celebrations are being scaled back this year due to funding shortfalls as companies and municipalities across the country reconsider their support for diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, or as I like to say, didn't earn it initiatives. This is for all the negative things, for all the violence and everything like that, for everything that's happening. There are signs that things are looking up, and this is one of them. This is absolutely one of them. DEI is DIEing, and that is amazing. And Juneteenth is still now a federal holiday for some ridiculous reason, but we can get into that another time. In fact, I think the next show is actually going to be on Juneteenth, so we'll probably discuss it then. But yeah, this is amazing. Lowest murder rate on track, and then Juneteenth is scaling back. Things are looking up. Things are looking up. But anyway, folks, that's all I got for you this time. I will try to do better on the next one. I'm going to keep trying to make each episode better than the last one. If anything that I said hit home for you, please take a second to like and subscribe and share it with everyone that you know. Because I'm not just here to bloviate. I'm here to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and carry the banner of faith, freedom, and hope for future generations. So if you want some cool gear, head over to missionreadymen.com, hit Shop 7 Armors, and check out all the great designs that we have over there about bold faith, true grit, and unapologetic patriotism. And as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.